Hello, my name is Sekit, and we are playing FTB One. And today, we've been doing a bunch of magic. I wanna move off into some tech. I got a little thing floating around with me here. It's a friend. I wonder what it is. It's probably one of these weird pieces of gear I have. I don't think. I've lost track. But we're gonna be getting back into some technology. I want to improve our ore processing to the top tier available from Mekanism. And we're gonna need a lot of things from that, not the least of which is, at least 3 stacks of these, I think. So that's, whoops, I'm putting it in the wrong spot. It belongs in here. That'd be 3 stacks of steel, and we have 3 stacks of steel. Very cool. So, the thermal evaporation plant turns water into brine, and we're gonna need brine. We're gonna take 2 stacks of this out. We're gonna need 1 thermal evaporation controller. And we're only going to make 1 of these, but I am going to make a recipe because some of those things in there are multi-stage. We're also going to need 2 thermal evaporation valves. 1 for an input, 1 for an output. And finally, well, like if we were in a desert or like the nether or something, there would be enough ambient heat that this thing would run pretty quickly without any help from us. But we're not. So we're gonna go ahead and teach this thing how to make these advanced solar generators. We can add up to 4 of them onto a thermal evaporation plant, and they will do a wonderful job. Now, the next question is, where are we going to put all this? We definitely want it to be loaded from the base. So if we're like over here, messing with our various machines. Now, we could always load chunks, but I don't want to do that. I think we're going to do this right over here, next to the Nature's Aura stuff. Now, the plant can be pretty big. 18 high is significant. So we're going to put most of it underground. And once we've got all the machines together, we're going to just have, what am I trying to say? We'll put it inside a structure. This pick is bananas. Look at this. That's wild. Alright, now assuming I've counted right, we've got 14 blocks there, right? So what you do is you make a solid bottom, and then you just go along the sides like this. You do have to fill in the corners, except on the top where we're going to put the generators, but those do have to be sitting on the 18th block. I'll show you what we mean. Typical. I'll get out of here. Alright, this will take us up to 15. These llamas are gonna be... Okay, come on, get out of the way, fellas. Alright. Now you can put this stuff anywhere. We're putting it up here, because that's where we're gonna be. I think all it really needs is a controller. But we're gonna give it 2 valves. Now we're just putting them, you can put them anywhere except the bottom layer. The bottom layer has to be thermal evaporation block. So this will take us up to 16. 17, you see the sparks is the multi-block assembles. Very good. And 18, I need 2 more. Got that. We're gonna put the generators down. There we go. And these will, you know, generate RF just like anything else, but onto this thing, they will provide us with heat. So, we can see the temperature going up. That's because we threw those up there. What we're gonna do, we're gonna put an ender tank down here. Now, I don't know if we have to set these to input and output. Doesn't look like it. And we're going to key it to our aqueous accumulator. I'm gonna throw a pipe on. I'm gonna set it to extract, and we're gonna put in one of these fancy pipe upgrades. That should fill this thing with water pretty quickly. It's filling up with brine very quickly. Okay. That's good. And we got brine pouring out into a buffer tank and into an ender tank cued white, white, yellow so that we can easily move it around. Now the next thing we need is sulfuric acid. We can get this with water vapor, which is pretty easy to get. Well, that's just deconcentrating, you know, most liquids. We can just use water for that. And sulfur trioxide, which is a little more complicated. We'll need oxygen and sulfur dioxide. To get the sulfur dioxide, we'll need to run sulfur dust through a chemical oxidizer. Now, sulfur dust, we're getting the sulfur from thermal, and we can make the sulfur dust in a crusher. Let's see if there's any better way. It's 1-for-1. Yeah, no, pretty much just 1-for-1. Now the chemical oxidizer is mostly stuff we've seen before. With the exception of number 1, we need one of these dynamic tanks. And number 2, let's go back to the recipe here. We're going to need a basic chemical tank. These are tanks for gases. Now here's an interesting question, one I don't know the answer to. I don't know if this refined storage system is going to see Mekanism gases as a fluid that it can store. I bet the answer is no. But I thought we'd give it a try anyway. There's our importer. Let's flip these around. I have no idea what's going to happen here. So we're going to set gases to output on the off chance that this is going to work. Let's see if we can make a recipe for it. Good old sulfur dioxide. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Okay. So that's not gonna work. Now we've been mostly using the pipes mod for stuff, and hopefully that doesn't have to change. Yeah, wonderful. Gas pipes. And I think the gas functionality is added to the universal. Maybe? I don't know. We probably won't be testing that. Okay, not knowing how this is going to turn out, let's output perfect. We're going to run some power right along here. And we're going to input from here for the time being with a couple of solar panels. Okay. So this generates more than just by default. These things can take out. We might have to throw a diamond one in there. We're throwing the ultimate pipe upgrade in this one because this stuff's going to use some power. So we'll start here with the chemical oxidizer. And this is actually gonna be off, and we're gonna put an item input over here. Gonna turn this off, and we're gonna probably turn this off too. And then for gases, we're gonna want to output right directly to this side. Now once we've got our sulfur dioxide, we need to make it into sulfur trioxide. And for that, we're going to need a chemical infuser. I don't know if we have those in here. I don't think we know. We have metallurgic infusers. So let's go ahead and teach this thing how to do chemical infusers and make one. Okay, so let's say we have a little bit of sulfur. And we have it over here in this pipe. We'll go into here, and it'll make up a little bit of sulfur dioxide. Not a whole ton, honestly. So we are probably gonna want a buffer tank. So the gas tanks from Mekanism are just like the fluid tanks. There's 4 different tiers. We already taught this how to make the basic. The advanced and the elite. And then finally the ultimate run pretty much, the recipes run pretty much the way you'd expect them to. Excuse me. We're just going to pop this down right between here. And we can see it's filling up. We're going to put the output over on this side. We will need a pipe to get the gas out of it. Now we're going to put our chemical infuser down right here. And we'll need a little bit more energy over here. Now, the other ingredient is oxygen. Now, the easiest way to get oxygen is with an electrolytic separator. We just pump it full of water. Let's see if we can find, this looks like it. Yeah. We just pump it full of water, and it'll separate the water into hydrogen and oxygen, both of which we have uses for. So let's say we were going to put our separator over here. We would want, let's see, what is it like? It wants fluid input from any direction. So we're going to give it fluid input from the top. We got blue, blue, blue ender tank. Very nice. We'll need a gas pipe on each side. And we're going to want a chemical tank on each side as a buffer. So let's set these to extract. And I think we should already see hydrogen. Yes, and oxygen. Very good. Now we want to set these to dump excess so that when it's full, so that when one side's full and the other side isn't, it can continue to fill up the other side that's full and not stop because one side's full. Now I have more questions. It used to be, at least with some versions of ender tanks, that you could use those as gas storage. I don't know if that's still true. Kinda doesn't look like it, does it? It doesn't look like the gas pipe wants to connect to the ender tank. Okay, now we know. Now in the infuser, we're going to set this input, this orange right here, we want that to input to there, and we want this to be the output, the blue. So we're going to turn this to none, and that's items. we're going to turn this to output and this one to none. There we go. So we should be able to run a gas pipe right along like so. And we'll set it to extract. And now this thing's going to start making sulfur trioxide for us. Now we're going to take the trioxide, we're going to mix it with water vapor. And to do that, we're going to need a rotary condensator. So, all components we've seen before, just in a different configuration. And this thing, we're going to pop right on here. So, let's see. We want fluids. That should be an input. We should be getting water in through there, but I'm not seeing it. I think we have this thing set to the wrong direction. We want it set that direction. Now, it can take in water. Okay, so this will go back and forth. It'll gas to fluid, fluid to gas. Okay, okay. Now, we're going to want to take the water vapor out of the front. Not that way. That's going to be a none. And let's make sure we're dealing with our gases. We're going to go right out the front. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put another chemical infuser right down next to this one. So it's going to send the sulfur trioxide right into it. We're going to want the orange input for gases, not over there. That's probably going to be an output, and this will be none, but we want it up here. That that corresponds to the orange side there. So we'll take a gas pipe, and that is not what we want. There we go. We didn't get any garbage in there, did we? Doesn't look like it. Okay, we're getting the water vapor in here. Slowly but surely, we're getting sulfuric acid, which we can pump right out the side. What we need it for is the chemical dissolution chamber. This gives us dirty slurry. That's the first step of the, what do you call it? The 1 or 5 or 6, apparently. Maybe not. Let's see if we can just find some normal ore. Okay, yeah. It's 1,000 of these. This will get you 5. 5 ingots. So 3 will get you 10. Okay. Still stuck with multiples of 3 with the raws, though. That's just the way Mekanism goes. This is expensive, but, we can make all this stuff. Oh, if we were to come over here, extend our power just a little bit further, put our chemical dissolution chamber down. Now it's filling up with sulfuric acid. And we could go ahead and put some raw iron in there. And each raw iron will get us 2,000, well, will get us 2 buckets worth, really, of dirty iron slurry. You process iron slurry in a washer. You have all the slurries. And it can just use water. It's fine. But we are going to have to get a chemical washer. And once again, it's components that we've seen before, just in a slightly different configuration. Wait, that was a dissolution chamber. How did I manage that? We're looking for a chemical washer. Here we go. They do look, I think this is the only difference between the 2 recipes. But, that's okay. Makes sense. It's all modular. I'm going to pop this down right here. It's going to fill up with the slurry. And what's slurries? Okay, yeah, we want it to output this way. And we want an input on the top for more water. Okay, now it's making clean iron slurry. Now this stuff we run through a crystallizer and we get an iron crystal. And it's just, let's see. We should be able to spot it pretty easily. Here it is, the chemical crystallizers. The main difference is it uses fluorite. And we have some fluorite lying around. Haha! There is a challenge. The most bang for your buck. Whoops. That's not where we're trying to go. Let's run back out to the setup. Duck eggs, some more duck eggs. Okay. Now this is real simple. It's just going to it's going to fill up with clean iron slurry. I don't think it has power. And it's going to turn it into crystals. And the crystals we process further. Surprise. Now to process the crystals, we're going to be using that brine. Now we've got some fluid pipes here. I think what we're going to do is come out a little bit to do this. We're going to put our separator right here. And I think our brine is one yellow dye on the right hand. Let's see. Put the tank down. One yellow dye. Yeah, okay, very good. So let's go ahead and send this in here. This will give us sodium and chlorine. Now we're going to swap these gas outputs for the opposite of what might be intuitive, because it's the chlorine that we're going to want to do something with. I'm going to get some more tanks to use as buffers. It's doing the exact opposite of what I wanted it to do. That's okay. We can work with it. The chlorine, we're going to want to combine with hydrogen to get hydrogen chlorine. Now we're going to put chemical infuser down right here. And we're going to run some pipe from the hydrogen right over to it. And there we go. We're slowly getting hydrogen chloride. This stuff will go into another chemical injection chamber. But this is what we use the crystals with. This is another new block. It's simpler than the other ones. This one is also upgradable. We can upgrade it to the ultimate tier if we so chose. But for now, we're just gonna make it. I want to see how all this does and how it keeps up with the... Oh, we need to teach this how to make a purification chamber. Okay. Okay, so this is the next tier up on the enrichment chamber chain. So we'll put the chamber right down here. And we'll have to set this to auto-eject, I think. There we go. That'll throw a stack of iron crystals in there and plenty more on the way. And that'll give us the hydrogen chloride that we need in there. And we're going to turn eject to on. This will give us iron shards, which we run through a purification chamber. We just need oxygen. Now we have oxygen right over here. Now we're just going to run a line to it. I did it from this direction because I put this one down first, and then I used the pipe wrench to separate it. So it's you can fit a lot of cable into a small space. And you know, I know Mekanism comes with its own logistics stuff, but like visually, these are really easy for me to tell apart, and I appreciate that. And here we are. Yep. All we need to do is power it. Now, what do we get out of this? I can't remember. This might be the thing that we run through the Mekanism crusher. Yeah, and we'll get the dirty iron dust. Now what we get out of the crusher, I believe we can run through the enriching factory and then into the smelting factory. So we're gonna get some ender chests ready. Let's see. Oh, one pink each. Sounds good. Okay, and we'll throw our crusher right out here. Oh, this thing has to be turned on to eject. I don't think it is. There we go. Iron clumps. What's it gonna give us? Hey, dirty iron dust. We run it through the enrichment chamber and through any smelting operations. So, we'll take an item pipe. And we got our ender chest and our pink dye. Set it to export. Whoops, set this to eject. And we've got our war quintupling. It's gonna pour the dirty dust into here. And this will clean it and it'll go right into the system. So, who cares? We got resources for days. Well, not for everything. Bauxite, especially, is not something we're getting a lot of. Now, I think it'll just make aluminum, but I don't know how much aluminum, if any, we have left, or if we even had any before. But this will give us, what, 15 times 5, so this will give us 75 aluminum ingots, I believe. Let's just make sure it should all be, yeah. Well, not 75. It'll give us 75 if that was ore, but it'll certainly give us a good amount. Now, the choke point here is basically sulfur. We can keep up. We got full 10 buckets of sulfur trioxide, plenty of sulfuric acid. We're in good shape. It would be nice to try to get some more sulfur. I mean, we get it slowly but surely. From our laser drill, we could throw a lens on there if we wanted it to concentrate on sulfur. In the meantime, I'm just kind of grinding up what we got. We're still doing another couple hundred. Now we can just bring it out here as we need it. Now, upgrades-wise, the oxidizer that we're doing the sulfur in, that'll take speed, energy, and muffling. Let's give it speed and energy. Okay, so 8 of each helped an awful lot. We're starting to get a little buffer of sulfur dioxide, which means we have plenty of trioxide. And I wish there were still the maybe I'm thinking of thermal, like something to increase the size of the tanks. But let's see. This is kind of slow. I don't know how to judge this because I think we had the 64 before we started. Maybe we'll just let this run out. Ah, okay. Here's a possible pinch point. We're going to upgrade this thing. So we're going to go ahead and put a tank in here. And set that to export. And that's an output. Very nice. Now let's go ahead. Here we go. We'll just do it like this. And that should move it along quite a bit more quickly. And we should get a good amount saved up for when we need it. I don't think that's dependent on anything but the electrolytic separator, which I also think will soup up. I also want to upgrade these. We'll turn the auto sorts on. Okay, it's almost done with the iron slurry. Still producing aluminum slurry. We could probably speed this up. Okay, everything seems to be keeping up pretty well. And we're definitely not running low on power. These produce just a comical amount. They have 64 million just in their buffers. Okay, I think everything's empty out here. So we got just some yellowite ore. That's the only straight ore that, well, that smelts that this thing has given us. So let's see. Okay, so that's already moving. It's already got crystals in the injecting factory. And it's moving right along. I want to keep an eye on the oxygen level. That's another thing that can be an issue. And that's why we did all the upgrades into this machine. Let's see. It's got, 302 is 302 buckets worth is a good amount. Okay, so it's done on this side. This is upgraded about as much as we can. It's actually doing a pretty good job. Once it gets to 200 here, it makes the crystal. And yeah, this looks like a good setup. Very good. And I think that's gonna about do it for this time, folks. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.